Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:32. And in the spirit of reconciliation, we'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes Blackfoot Confederacy members Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, the Stoney Nakoda of Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Wesley First Nations, the Dene of Tsuut'ina First Nations, the Métis Nation Region 3, and all those that made Treaty 7 lands their home. Just a friendly reminder for everyone to turn their phones on to vibrate or turn them off, just so that we don't have any interruptions. And at this time, I would ask if there are any additions or addendas to the agenda from anybody. Okay, seeing none, I would take a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Thank you, Councillor Lalonde. All those in favor to accept the agenda as presented. Wonderful, thank you, everybody. Carried unanimously. And the adoption of the minutes from our meeting held on September 7th. If there are any corrections or anything that needs to be changed, please let us know. Otherwise, I would take a motion to adopt those minutes as well. Thank you, Councillor Thompson, and welcome back. All those in favor to adopt the minutes? Perfect, carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody. We do not have any public hearings, and at this time, 6:33, I will open the question period. Is anyone here going to ask any questions? I assume not, and I don't believe we have received any. So at 6:34, I will close the question period and we will carry on with the agenda. Moving right along to bylaws 7.2, our offsite levies bylaw, and I believe the famous Rod Ross is here to help guide us through that one. So I'll pass the table over to administration or to Rod.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, you bet.
Yes, the administration has undertaken a review of the offsite levy bylaw. Council would be aware of this process. We had a couple of workshops with the council as we worked through the process of doing the update. So offsite levies, they are a tool for financing offsite infrastructure that is necessary to support growth. So typically a developer will pay for all of the infrastructure within the confines of their development site, but typically there's infrastructure offsite that is necessary to support that growth, such as water and sewer treatment plants and water and sewer mains, roads, and that sort of thing. So the offsite levy is a tool for ensuring that development that places demands on that infrastructure contributes towards the construction of that infrastructure. The current 2008 bylaw imposes levies for water and sewer treatment, water distribution, sewage collection, and some roads. The update imposes levies on the same types of infrastructure. The Act was amended a few years ago. The Municipal Government Act was amended a few years ago to allow municipalities to also impose levies for recreation facilities, libraries, fire stations, and police stations. But the town has no plans for that type of infrastructure, at least not of any detail that would be sufficient to support a levy. So our levy is still limited to the basic water, sewer, and roads. So the 2008 bylaw, it's out of date. Since 2008, a lot of water has passed under the bridge, so to speak. We completed a major annexation. completed some major upgrade of the water treatment plant. And we have new plans for sewage treatment that are underway. And we've updated our infrastructure plans, so it's not necessary to update our growth plans. It's necessary to update the levy to reflect this new landscape for infrastructure and growth. The new bylaw is based on a 25-year growth and infrastructure estimate, vision of how much growth we'll have and what infrastructure would be necessary to support it. So the levy, like the last one, this proposed levy will cover water and sewer treatment, water distribution, sewage collection, and a couple of highway intersections where the provincial highways intersect with local roads. Stormwater is not included in the levy. The draft levy, or the bylaw, requires that it be reviewed every 4 years to ensure that it's up to date and not to get out of date like the current one has. Through the process, in addition to consulting with council and with JPAC, we also met with industry. We held 2 meetings with developers and builders. And we have had subsequent one-on-one meetings with developers as required. A more comprehensive review of the bylaw will be presented prior to the public hearing, where administration is recommending that council hold a public hearing. We're not required to, but we think in the interest of transparency and openness, allow any party that feels impacted by it to be able to speak directly to council about their concerns. So we're recommending if council gives first reading to this bylaw to hold a public hearing on November 2nd. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Council, any questions for Rod? Councillor Thompson.
When looking at section 6, payment of levies, 6.4 specifically, did we come to an agreement with Turner Valley on that split? The 50-50, 50 paid prior to the endorsement of the plan subdivision, and 50 paid within 1 year.
Yes, yeah,
Please do.
I recall the discussion at JPAC. That was the motion that came out of JPAC that we do it on a 50-50 basis, and that's the way the bylaw has been drafted. Industry wanted so to stage payment over more than just 2 payments, but taking council's direction on that, bylaw has been drafted 50-50 basis.
Yeah, that was my next question, what industry was hoping for. We're never going to make them happy, in my opinion. So I think this is a fair kind of way to go at it. So thank you for that response.
Thanks, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Bain.
Pretty insignificant little point with the numbering on the pages. Page 3 of 2, page 4 of 2, page 5 of 2.
Please say over.
So just to confirm, Turner Valley will be having their public hearing on the 19th of October, and in their bylaw it does say 50-50.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Oh, yes, on the bylaw. Yeah, I see what you're referring to.
Deputy Mayor.
Are there any other concerns brought forward from the industry stakeholder engagement? Very concerned, not particularly concerned.
Well, yeah, there's concern about the increase in the the amount of levy. It's going from, well, the current levy varies depending on location. Around 16,000 to as high as 30, depending on what part of town. It's going up to, so 16,000 per acre to around 30 per acre, depending on where you are. It's going up to around 27,000 per acre. So significant increase. So we heard from that. We heard some concern with that. We also heard from a developer that wants to see more projects included in the levy. So they're not opposed to a higher levy. They recognize that, the town is including a project as a levy. That means the town is committing to building it, which means that they're not required to build it. So, so we're kind of hearing from both sides. Some think it's too high, and other parties would like to see more projects included in the levy. I expect when it comes to the public hearing, we might hear directly from some of the parties that have some concerns.
Please. Go ahead.
How many unique parties participated? Sessions.
We might have had 12, maybe 12. They weren't all unique. Some were, there were multiple parties interested in one property. Yeah, probably about. Right.
I'm gonna say, if I can, it's gonna be about 9 unique parties, because NGP had, 3, 4 people at the state.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a combination of landowners and developers. Some of the developers, there were prospective developers who didn't actually own any land in town, but are interested in opportunities. And some are landowners with no experience in development, but they own land, and they're, they would be impacted because the prospective developers are.
Right.
Anything else, council? Okay, well, someone wants to give me a motion, we'll carry on. Councillor Thompson,
I'll give first reading,
please, and thank you.
to bylaw 2022-11.
Okay, would anyone like to speak to the motion? All those in favor? Okay, carried unanimously. And I would take a second.
I'm fixing it.
You guys want to rock, paper, scissors?
Yes,
Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
that council agreed to hold a non-statutory public hearing for bylaw 2022-11 on November 2nd, 2022.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
No? Okay, all those in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, thank you very much, Rod. And to everybody else that was involved, Urban as well. Thank you very much. And thank you for organizing the public hearing. That's good for us. So cool. All right, so they're done. Okay, let's move on to action items. Still got that name? Okay, we are moving on to 8.1, naming the park at 606 Central Ave West. And everything's there. I don't know if anyone wants to speak to it, if administration wants to speak to it, or Councillor Thompson, would you like to start off?
I'd like to give you the motion.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
The council agreed to name the park located at 606 Center Avenue West, E. and Dale Park.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Would anyone like to speak to the motion? Other than it being a great recommendation. Thank you, administration, for the recommendation. All good? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, carried unanimously. Wonderful. Okay, moving on, 8.2, operating budget. Thank you, Ryan, very much, appreciate it. 8.2, 2023 financial plan guidelines and assumptions, the interim operating budget. Should I speak to it? Everything's there.
Everything's there.
Everything's there. I know, as long as, yeah.
And just so that everybody's aware, our finance group has been working diligently on trying to, organize codings and accounts and bank accounts. And so there's been a lot of operations time from finance working on things. One of the pieces that we are aware of, that we do need an interim budget going forward. And the recommendation is that instead of each department going through their budgets and their capital budgets, that it's straight across the board from both municipalities, 3% get added to the 2022 bottom line budget in both operating and capital, carry forward for Diamond Valley.
Thank you, CEO Brown. Okay, team, council, does anyone want to speak to anything, or would someone like to give me a motion? Councillor Bain.
Given the current financial climate and the uncertainty of what inflation is going to be, we don't want to, and we've avoided putting any sort of commitment on a new council. It's entirely up to the new council how much they would like to increase, which would mean an increase in taxes. I believe that we should keep it at 0%, and it's entirely up to the new council whether they want to increase taxes or not.
Okay, I've got a follow-up question, and if that's okay. How long theoretically would it take new council to see the next budget? Like, we didn't approve our budget until April or May. So we would be, yeah, I'm kind of asking, I'm more or less asking you.
So this is just an interim
Just going to
operating and capital budget to get us through the beginning of the year until the 2023 council budget is going to be approved.
Mhm.
That has to be presented and approved. And you have to have, your 3 years of operating and 5 years of capital for the new municipality, which is going to take a little bit of time for our finance groups and our departments to put that new plan together. I anticipate that your budgets for the new municipality, we'll probably start having conversations probably in late March, and probably, if I can estimate what it would be like for a new council coming in, it has to be passed before the tax rate. So we need to have the tax rate done by June. So I would anticipate budget would be probably presented to council in and about April, May for approval. This just gets us through the beginning of the year and sets up the new municipality for success.
Thank you, CEO Brown. Follow-up, Councillor Bain, and then I'll go to you, Councillor Thompson.
Since it is an interim budget, it means that the town will have money to operate with until such time as they pass a budget. So there's no real necessity for us to be increasing the budget right now.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bain. Councillor Thompson.
I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because costs are going up, and if we want to move forward with some of our projects, et cetera, the new council wants to move forward, and we want to ensure that we have enough funding because of everything that's going up, and because we won't get to the budget till March, April. I think that it's pertinent to do the 3%. And then it's contingent on our new council to decide maybe they want to decrease some things or increase some things. And we don't know whether it will be a 3% increase, but from the look of things, it might be even more than that, that a new council is going to be looking at. So I think that this is very typical for a municipality to count on a 3% increase. I was always told that you should always count on a 3% increase, and then the council will decide, the council of the day will decide whether that, after going through budget deliberations, if that's appropriate. or if more is needed, or if less is needed. So I don't have a problem with this. It is an interim budget, and the new council will make the final decision on that final 2023 budget.
Thanks, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Vandenhoek.
So Diamond, Turner Valley is also gonna have to agree to this, right? If you wanna go to a 0%, you have to get Turner Valley to get on board too. So it's just, are we voting for the same bylaw between us both so that we can get it through?
We are.
Yeah, so that would throw us like quite the headache.
It's our budget, is it not?
I understand.
Yeah.
But you know, Heather's right, prices are going up. I mean, it is an interim budget, so the new council at the time can go, yeah, let's keep it at 0%. But at least the interim budget gets them there, because there's definitely gonna be spending coming up.
Which they have money for.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Vandenhoek.
I'm prepared to make a motion that council agree to authorize the 2023 interim operating and capital budget consisting of the 2022 operational budget with no increase as the starting point for the interim operational capital budget for Diamond Valley. And I would like a recorded vote, please.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? Deputy Mayor.
I don't have a huge brain for math, but my gut tells me that 0% isn't gonna fly this time. I just put that out there. With the encounter.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just like,
If I may,
Yeah.
the households are having to cut back. Perhaps it's time the towns start to cut back. Rather than simply saying, oh yes, things are costing more, so we're gonna tax people more. Perhaps the new town should take a very, very close look at the services it is providing and perhaps cut back, as so many families are having to do right now.
So we've done 0 increase budgets in the past 4 years. And it always leads us down the path of we can't afford to keep staff. So I just don't think a 0 increase budget is good.
Yeah,
go ahead, Councillor.
you can take on more staff, which is probably gonna be needed to help. I mean, even with gas prices going up 30 cents in the last 2 weeks, like, I mean, I think 0% is a little, that doesn't give a lot of wiggle room. If you wanted to adjust that, maybe there could be a point for discussion, but 0% is pretty silly. Sorry, was that put in that?
May I speak? I think, you know, if I may, to Ted's point, is that he's leaving it up to the council.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about an increase or a decrease at this time. To Councillor Bain's point, I think he's saying leave it up to the January council to come up with the percentage when we have a more realistic idea of where inflation is. We sit at the beginning of October, and a lot can change. Price could go up in gas another 30 cents, or it could go back down 30 cents. We're very unaware of that. I'm struggling with the 0%, but I'm also struggling with the 3% across the board. Sitting in this chair right now, I have a really tough time making a decision for folks in January, February, March, April, May, when it's still October. Councillor Long.
The 3% is a safety net for your operations to work for January, February, March, before the new council sees numbers. You can't run on today's numbers, not knowing what's going to happen. It's a safety net. If they don't hit the 3%, they don't. But if they need to, they need to. And if that can be decided next spring. But we need to make sure that they have the ability to keep the town running January, February, March. If Turner Valley's come to the same agreement financially, there's a lot of people a lot smarter than us that have put these numbers together to think this is the realistic approach to protect the community. Because if you don't have enough money, then when that new council sits down and they don't have it, Now they're cutting projects and they're cutting works. It's easy to sit there and go, yeah, the 3% is added and we don't need it. We can trim back, and they can do that. They have that power. This is to protect the administration, the staff, the operations, the capital, that we can still keep our head above water for the first 3-4 months next year until decisions are made at that time. And like I say, it's agreed upon with Turner Valley and finance departments and accountants and everybody else. It's not a risk that we're taking today. It's a protectionary step moving forward for the start of the new year. So I don't support the 0%. I would support the 3% alongside with Turner Valley.
Can I just ask you a question? So hypothetically, if we had $100,000 and we wanted to increase that by 3%, that'd be $30,000. So the $100,000 would need to be used up before you needed. No?
Right.
Yeah, okay, so,
Yeah.
so you would have to spend your entire budget by April before you would need that 3% theoretically.
Zero.
So, okay, yeah, so we're assuming that the 3% is gonna make a massive difference between January and May or June, when in fact that 3% will not matter until November or December, because that's when you're supposed to be running out of money, and that's where the increase would actually take place.
Mhm.
Okay, just need clarity on that. So you guys both have.
That was the question I was gonna ask.
It doesn't impact the spring.
I agree with Daryl. But the 3% isn't just for January, February, March. It'll be March, be the end of April, first part of May before we get a budget passed. So I stay with the 3%.
Okay. So, yeah,
If I can just speak to municipal accounting, which is a little bit different than your household accounting. If a bill comes in for streetlights, you actually have a budget for streetlights. The electricity has gone up more than 5%. That amount only comes out of the streetlight account. It doesn't come out of any other account. It only comes out of that. So I would hazard to guess that if we start, because of the way the system works, the municipal accounting system works, we can't take money from roads, operations, gas, let's just call it gas or diesel or goods, to put towards streetlights. That can't happen like that. It's not like your household dollars. We need to have resolutions from council to make those go through. And so what you're asking the new council to do then is to say, if there's a bill that comes in for streetlights, which is $20,000 higher than its previous bill, which is what's anticipated to happen, we will not be able to pay that bill without coming to council for a resolution until the budget is passed. You have seen that happen at this council previously.
Councilor Reid.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
So this $20,000 more than the previous bill, you're saying that there's not enough money in the entire year's budget to pay that extra $20,000 for the streetlights? That it's more than the previous month's bill?
If it all comes in at once, but maybe I'll use a different example because there's provincial requisitions for school tax. That might be a really better example. That requisition will come in from the province in March. Let's pretend our school tax amount from the province is higher than what we had previously paid. Then I would have to come to council for a resolution, or the CIO will have to come to new council for a resolution to have that increased payment made. So that's how that process would work. Without an increase, we know that there's going to be costs increasing in 2022, and we want to be prepared. 23, sorry.
Councilor Thompson.
Really, this should only apply to the operating budget, shouldn't it?
That's correct. It should only apply to the operating budget.
We
And that's what this says, is the operational budget plus 3% as a starting point for the interim operational capital budget for Diamond Valley.
So it should really include the cap.
No, that's the way that Turner Valley's writing it, so I'm writing it. the same way.
Okay, well, we've got a motion on the table. Okay, so we're gonna vote on this. And, okay. So the motion on the table is more or less the same, except instead of 3%, it's 0%
Yeah.
as it stands right now.
Yep.
Yes, please,
For
sorry.
a verbal vote, please, if the screen is not big enough to catch you all, and it was
Okay.
requested for a report.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Vernon. Okay, all those in favor, or sorry, does anyone else want to speak to it before I ask? Okay, all those in favor, with the motion of 0%. Recorded vote. Ted and myself. So 2 of us. And all those opposed. Heather, Veronica, Daryl, and Chad. Councilor Lalonde.
I'm going to give you a motion that council agree to authorize the 2023 interim operating and capital budget consisting of the 2022 operational budget plus 3% as a starting point for the interim operational capital budget for Diamond Valley. And to speak to it, like I say, Turner Valley's agreeing with it, our office is agreeing with it, municipal, everybody's agreeing with it. It's a good starting place. Council still has the power to make the changes they need to be respectful and responsible to the community. This just helps our business keep moving forward. So I'm happy at the 3%.
Thank you, Councilor Lalonde. Just so that we're clear, Turner Valley has not yet voted on this motion.
It's going there tonight.
Right, okay, so this motion could be defeated in theory as well, right? Like it's not been passed yet. I'm just speaking to Councilor Lalonde's point. He's saying that Turner Valley is agreeing with this, but we haven't seen the vote yet.
So for clarification, Turner Valley agreeing with it means our administrations have come together with all their accounting and people in place saying, this is a good starting
Okay.
point. So that's what I mean by agreeing with Turner Valley,
Okay.
working together.
Thank you, Councilor Lalonde. Okay, would anyone else like to speak to the motion? Okay, all those in, could we also do a recorded? Yes, please,
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor of the 3% increase? We have Councilor Thompson, Deputy Mayor, Councilor Lalonde, and Councilor Vandenhoek. All those opposed? Councilor Bain and Mayor Kelly. Okay, so it's passed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, moving right along to 8.3 banking facility, Town of Diamond Valley. Pretty straightforward. I'm not sure if anyone would like to speak to the motion. We did talk about it at JFAC. So here it is. If anyone would like to speak to it, you're more than welcome to. CEO Brown.
There is one amendment coming forward, which is having alternates on that that account, which would include both CAO patients and myself as alternate signing authorities on that bank account. And the rationale for that is just in case something happens to one of the two signing authorities until the organizational meeting is passed. We need to ensure that there's an alternate that has the ability to sign.
Thank you for clarifying, CEO Brown. Okay. Fire me some motions. Councilor Bain.
The council agree that the financial institution for Diamond Valley will be ATB Black Diamond. And I have no further comment.
Thank you, Councilor Bain. Anyone like to speak to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried unanimously. I'll take a second motion. Councilor Thompson.
Council agree that the signatories effective January 1st, 2023 are authorized as Corinne Middleton, Manager of Finance and Corporate Services, Town of Turner Valley, and Shirley Campbell, Finance Manager, Town of Black Diamond, as the designated signing authorities on the Town of Diamond Valley bank account.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. Would anyone like to speak to the motion? All those in favor? That carried unanimously. And last but not least, I will take a third motion. Please and thank you. Counselor Van Hook.
Council agree that Sean Patience, CAO Turner Valley, and Charlene Brown, CAO of Black Diamond, as alternate signing authorities on the town of Black Diamond, or sorry, the town of Diamond Valley bank account.
Thank you, Counselor Van Hook. Would anyone like to speak to the motion? All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thanks, everybody. Okay, moving right along. 8.4. Sheep River Regional Utility Corporation Board of Directors membership. Fairly straightforward. It's all there for you, folks. If anyone has any questions, please bring them forward. Otherwise, take another motion. Counselor Thompson.
Just a question to our CAO. I wasn't at the JPAC meeting when this was discussed. Did they discuss members at large at that meeting being on Shark?
There was if I can respond,
Please do.
there was a conversation around members at large, and the decision was to go with 3 appointed persons.
Okay, as long as it was discussed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Thompson. Any other questions? If not, Counselor Main.
The council agreed to direct administration to advise Sheep River Regional Utility Corporation that the desired membership for the SRRUC Board of Directors would include 3 elected officials from the town of Diamond Valley to be appointed at the first organizational meeting of the town of Diamond Valley. And I have no further comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Bain. Anyone like to speak to the motion further? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, 8.5, request for EOEP strategic planning course. This one's kind of a moot point. The course started this afternoon, and I don't know, can I like withdraw it? Do we need to vote on it? I'm not sure how that works. Is there a?
Bless you.
Thank you.
CAO Brown?
Is there a challenge with registering late if you have council approval? Has anybody looked into that?
You need to attend the 4 courses in total for it to be complete as a certificate, as they said. I didn't look into it late. I can tomorrow, but I don't want to spend money or get a motion approved and then, yeah. Deputy Mayor?
Well, because I'm one of the ones who neglected their duties of replying to an email, I'd be happy to look into this for you. And this is not to make you feel bad, but a buddy of mine, Councillor from Colhurst, was there. And he said Black Diamond was mentioned today, glowing curves. Or something.
Oh, it's too bad I couldn't hear it in
It's
person.
really a shame.
Yeah, I mean, we're welcome to make a motion on it, but I don't want it to be for, I mean, it doesn't matter to me at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
The council agreed to authorize payment for the registration fee of $295 for Mayor Brendan Kelly to attend the EOEP strategic planning course in October 2022.
Okay, and so in the event that it's not possible, this just becomes a dead thing. Okay, okay. Thank you for the motion. I'll speak to it. I don't have a lot of opportunities as a full-time teacher to attend things like Alberta Munis and those types of things. So this came across my desk as a great opportunity. I thought it would be a good opportunity. I still think it would be if I can attend. So I sent an email out on Monday asking for council support. Thank you, Councillor Thompson and Councillor Bain, for replying to that email. I'll just leave it at that. So all those in favor of the proposed motion? Thanks. Carried unanimously. Okay, 8.6. CO Brown.
I know that Deputy Mayor Coiber suggested that she might look into it, but if it would be okay if we just sent an email to the EOEP people, see if there's a virtual session that's been recorded for you and get you registered right away. Would that be sufficient?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
More
It would be
than-
way easier, more efficient.
Sure.
It's gonna take the punch.
Veronica's been really good about it, so I appreciate it. Okay, 8.6, request for letter of support. Yeah, this is a good one. If anyone would like to speak to it, they're welcome to start. Otherwise, we'll carry on.
I'll make the motion.
Councillor Mayne.
The council agreed to send the letter of support for a debt limit increase to the West End Regional Sewage Services Commission as presented. And I will speak to it. The West End and the towns are in a little bit of a financial crunch with this project. And it's mainly a cash flow issue. The grant money is not coming as quickly as we had anticipated from the provincial and federal governments, and costs have come in quicker than we expected. So just because we are asking for a debt limit increase does not necessarily mean that West End will be using all of that. And just like we recently, like yesterday, got approved for a line of credit. So with the line of credit, we can borrow money, and then as money comes back, we can give it right back. So that's my comment with respect to the request for the debt limit increase.
Thanks, Councillor Mayne. Appreciate the insight. Can I take a motion?
I just want to comment.
Yes,
I
please do.
would like to actually give kudos to staff for getting this through. This was a hard one to kind of get accomplished. So kudos to Lisa and those people that helped her get this done. It's a really good thing to have this line of credit happen.
I already made them.
Oh, you did?
I think, didn't I?
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
I don't
Okay.
listen.
Okay, sorry. Apologies. Would anyone else like to speak to it? Okay, all those in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, last for action items, 2022-2023 DARE requests. Our CPOs do an outstanding job here in the community. I know that Jim has been a huge supporter and gives up a lot of time to work with this program. Can't say enough good things about it. So I'll leave it up to council to make a motion, or if anyone wants to speak to it. Councillor Lalonde.
I'm going to give you a motion that council agree to direct administration for the request for their representation in the next JFAC meeting for consideration. I would encourage the program to continue as it does for the community. Like you had mentioned, Officer Barry does a tremendous amount of work with it. Other officers are tremendously involved with the youth in the community, with the schools, taking their time to get involved with the kids. We are fortunate as a community like this to have that type of involvement, to have a face the kids are familiar with, recognize. Our guys do a lot of good work. The DARE program itself is quite successful. I used to sit on the committee 4 years ago and saw what the program does. So I think it's well worth the investment to keep our community safe as we can. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Lalonde. Does that sound like a motion?
I think just
CEO
I
Brown.
did like Ted, just roll.
Yeah.
Just to add to it, so that council is aware, Officer Barry does do this on his days off, and he
Yeah.
does not use work time to be able to do this service to the
Yeah.
community.
Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, anyone else like to speak to it? Maybe we should throw in some swag. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, okay, committee reports, friendly reminder, next week, next Wednesday, please and thank you. and we'll have those at our following meeting in the third week of October. We'll move right along to correspondence and information. Love reading all these call to action things. I've sat in on 3 RCMP meetings this week already. The province is moving right along with this, so we'll just go through the 2 of them, or maybe just the first one, or both of them, and then we'll take a motion to accept as information. But the first one is the National Police Federation call to action. And then the second one is our official administrator's report, which is right there. So if anyone would like to speak to it, they're more than welcome to. Any questions, comments, or I would take a motion to accept this information.
The call to action, Black Diamond and Turner Valley have actually participated in this and agreed to try to keep the RCMP. So this is just, again, reinforcing that call to the government from all the communities that have been putting out letters, which is substantial.
Yeah.
So,
It's not a small
yeah,
list.
so let's hope that our government steps up and starts listening on this one, because it's pretty obvious to me that most communities want to stick with their RCMP.
Turner Valley did not vote for it.
Oh, that's right. They've been ignoring. They've been accepting this information.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't. That's right.
So, right, okay. I correct myself.
Well, Jesus. Someone's got to be a leader. Okay, thank you, Councillor Thompson. Is there any other thoughts, comments, questions in regards to any of the information? If not, I'll take a motion to accept as information.
Maybe Turner Valley should get on the family.
Or you can have it.
Deputy,
I'll give you the motion to accept those.
thank you very much. Everybody, sorry, all those in favor to accept this information? Carried unanimously. Okay. Is that it? Okay. Any final thoughts, questions, comments? Seeing none? Seeing none, 7:19, meeting's adjourned.